when the person you love is having a seizure, every minute feels like forever. So you'll do anything to make it stop. There's so many people who don't know what epilepsy means, or they only know what they see in the movies.
When my son was having countless seizures, it was in the days before there was no internet, and there were no books in the libraries, and there was nowhere to get any accurate information about epilepsy. There was no epilepsy foundation here. And so I decided that was the biggest need that families living with kids with epilepsy had, was to just get accurate information. You know, it was an effort of love. I mean, we all loved what we were doing. We all were wonderfully committed volunteers.
I had a patient who applied to a camp, a pay camp, a private camp, and got turned down because he had epilepsy. So I called the director of the camp, and he said, well, we got a right to turn anybody down. So I said, all right, I'm going to work with the Epilepsy Foundation. We're going to have a camp where the kids go free, and your kids without epilepsy can't come to my camp. Donna was really the pusher. She really made the camp work.
When I first came to camp, you know, it was interesting to finally see others that were like me, that had seizures. Because that was the first I'd actually seen a seizure, other than, because I don't see my own. I never saw my own. So that was always interesting, and that was something I'll never forget, because it helped me realize that I need to help others like me. I always want to set camp off on the right tone for the kids. I always want them to have the best time from the second they step on camp to the moment they leave the gates. Because when you walk through those gates, something takes over. And I still feel it every day when I come to camp.
The most important thing that we see as physicians and nurses is that the children really get to be kids here. The children do everything they would do in any other summer camp. And I don't think they get that opportunity when you have a diagnosis like epilepsy.
I just climbed up the wall, went down the zip line, and had so much fun. I didn't expect myself to be able to do it, but because I thought I was going to be too scared. All the people that surround me, they're so nice, and I know that I don't know a lot of people who have epilepsy, and it's such a blessing to be able to know that there's people out there who deal with the same things I do.
I've been volunteering at the Epilepsy Foundation since, I think, 1998, where I started at Spike and Wave. The camp director came to my health class in high school. Now, 20 plus years later, 25 almost years later, I've been coming back every summer.
It's just an amazing cause. For kids that don't have the ability to really do the things that regular kids can do, it gives them an opportunity to just be free and be them.
One of my kids in clinic that I take care of was at camp. What struck me was the number of pills that I was dispensing to her during her camp stay each day, and that I had actually prescribed them. It was very real to see pills in that quantity given day in, day out. So that was a huge change in how I practiced as a physician.
Many things about epilepsy just aren't happy and aren't fun. But camp is different. Camp is a life-changing experience for a kid with epilepsy, or I think for any kid to go off to camp. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If people with epilepsy can achieve a little bit of seizure control, if not complete, but a little bit of seizure control, then adults with epilepsy are able to drive, they can hold down a job. For adults living with epilepsy, if they can get quality medical care and have some degree of seizure control, which is what they can do through our clinics.
Man, there's no way I can repay nothing what Sandra, Callie, everybody does around here for me. I love the way they treat me, the way, hey, if we need some more medication, let us know. Healthcare is very expensive, and this is another choice, as far as I'm concerned, a very good choice, where you can come to a foundation that really wants to take care of you and solve the problems as best as they can.
The Epilepsy Foundation is a huge advocate for Texans with epilepsy, going to Austin and fighting for legislation through the Compassionate Use Act. We were able to get a compassionate use program started here in Texas, which nobody thought could happen, and we did it. It's here, it's expanded, and it's because the Epilepsy Foundation was leading the fight for people with epilepsy to be able to have access to CBD oil.
My husband and I did everything that we could to try to convince these people how important it was that at least the citizens of this state have the opportunity to try this medication and not fear for their freedom.
The bill is passed.
Especially children like my child who had no other alternative. We did get the bill passed. I like to say that. We got the bill passed. Yeah, there were so many of us, and I am proud to say that just a little tiny bit of Texas history, I'm part of it. Thanks to the Epilepsy Foundation, though, because it was my partnership with them, or their willingness to let me cry on the steps of the Capitol.
We're a small organization, but we're mighty, and it makes our state better for people with epilepsy.
There's no way in my heart I can repay for everything you always done for me. And I want to thank those people that donate to the Epilepsy Foundation.
Without donors, we get nowhere. We totally rely on the support of donors to help us provide these valuable programs and services. There's no other way we could do it without our donors. And we are committed to anyone who gives us any money at all to make sure that we handle that money carefully, that we budget it correctly, that we allocate the amount of money that are needed for the resources that we provide, and that we continue to raise money to continue to increase the services as we continue to expand further into the state of Texas.